Hello and welcome back to Girl Ascending. So this evening we're going to be going through our new moon in Scorpio readings for all the 12 signs, using of course as our starting point the cards that we drew for Scorpio season. I'm so excited to see what comes up, so let's get started. So we're starting off with Aries, of course, hello, and the card that we picked for you for Scorpio season was, of course, the Nine of Needles in reverse, needles aligning with the suit of swords. And we're learning now that this is a time to let go, to release if things have been holding you back, worries, anxieties. This is a sign that things are going to get a lot better, so things are looking really positive for you on that front. Now let us see what other cards we have coming up for us for the new moon in Scorpio for Aries. Okay, so we're going to choose this one and then this one, and last card we'll go for this one here in the middle. Okay, so let's see what we have. I think it might be a good idea to go in a little bit closer just so that we can get a better look at what cards are coming up for you, Aries. Okay, so we have got the Eight of Wands, we've got the Three of Swords, and then we have also got the Ace of Cups. Okay, so following on from our card, the Nine of Needles in reversed, you are going to get some news coming through over the next couple of weeks. There is going to be some big communications, some big change that is going to come towards you, and it's something that's going to happen very quickly. So you need to be on the lookout for a message or a change or something that's going to come forward into your life at speed. But when we're looking as well at the Three of Swords coming up, it's that idea that although we've gone through a difficult time and that period has now passed by, that there may still be some kind of relationship trouble that we are still going to be having to deal with over the next couple of weeks. So this could be something related to the previous stress that we've been feeling, that maybe the relationship that was to do with is still unresolved in some way, or maybe we're still needing to take a step back to take some time to heal after a breakup or a relationship breakdown. Or it could be that perhaps we are feeling that release of stress and worry because we finally decided what to do about a toxic relationship and we're going to make that break. We're going to do so at speed, which is where we're seeing the Eight of Wands come in, and we're going to decide to end that toxic relationship. We're going to remove ourselves from it. We're not going to wait any longer. And whilst the Three of Swords is often aligned to romantic relationships, when we're thinking about relationships and the cards coming up for us, we always want to keep in mind that this could be to do with friendships or colleagues, but it can also be to do with that separation of the relationship that you have with yourself. So it can also be that you're choosing to remove some negative characteristics that you're noticing in yourself. You're keeping a bit of a closer eye on them and that you're wanting to reverse those. But the feeling that I'm getting quite strongly is that this is to do with a romantic relationship. So it could signal the end of a relationship that you're currently in, or it could be that maybe you've still got a bit of overhang from an ex. Maybe an ex is trying to get back into contact with you and you are releasing that and saying, no, this isn't something that I want. And when we're seeing the Ace of Cups coming in at the end, it's that real release of emotions, that we are in touch with our emotions and we are letting things go. We're not bottling them up, we're not holding them in anymore, we are releasing them. And with the new moon in Scorpio, this is very aligned. Scorpio is of course a water sign, and we really want to feel that release of letting go of emotions. So overall for Aries, we're letting go of things that have been holding us down, of that stress. We're preparing ourselves that there may be some news coming in, particularly in relation to relationships, and that although there may be a breakup on the horizon, we may be going through it, or there may still be an ex hanging around, we're not going to let that hold us back. We're going to still dig deep into our emotional self, let go and release. Hello to Taurus. So we're starting off with your card for Scorpio season, which was the Ace of Needles or the Ace of Wands. And we're thinking about how are we communicating with those around us? How are we making ourselves heard? How are we fully exploring the power of our own voice? So that's what we were really focusing on at the start of Scorpio season. And now with the new moon in Scorpio, we're going to see what other 3 cards we have coming up for us. Okay, so we're going to go for this one here, this one over here, and then last card, we shall choose this one here for you. Okay, so let's go in and have a bit of a closer look at what cards we now have coming up for Taurus for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, so we've got the Three of Pentacles, we've got the Fool. Okay, pop that on there. And then last card, we've got the Star. Okay, so when we're thinking about these four cards coming up together, that idea that we're really looking to communicate, we want to make ourselves heard. It's really that idea that there may be other people involved in the situation at the moment, which is why we're struggling to make ourselves heard. So maybe I'm getting the sense that this might be something family or work related, where there's a clash of ideas, a clash of opinions, and everyone is kind of at odds at each other, and you're really struggling to find where you fit into this and how you can really make yourself, your voice, count as much as everyone else's. And that can be quite hard sometimes, especially if it's maybe a job where it's someone more senior to you that has the clash of opinions, or even in family, no matter what, it can always be difficult when we come up against those conflicts and kind of butt heads with other people. But because we have the Fool and the Star coming up as well, what this would suggest to me is that if this is to do with a work situation, that you would be better moving yourself away from that situation and perhaps thinking, not necessarily starting a new career, but definitely kind of exploring what other career options might be open to you, and to not have a fear of that. You know, I think sometimes when we're in a situation of conflict for an extended period of time, it kind of becomes our norm, a sort of shadow comfort zone, and then we feel worried about leaving it. But I would say that this card coming up for you, the Fool, is definitely suggesting take that leap, make that change. If it is to do with leaving a job where you don't feel appreciated, or if there's a toxic family situation that you want to kind of separate yourself from for a while to just gain some more perspective, the cards are definitely supporting you in that choice. And then we have the Star coming up, and the Star is reminding us that we all have that power inside of us, that star quality that needs to shine, and we all deserve to have that moment to shine. And sometimes that can be a bit of a tricky idea to think about, because it can seem quite selfish or maybe a bit egotistical to want to take centre stage. But we are all centre stage in our own life. We all have that main character energy, and there is nothing wrong with that, nothing to be ashamed of. So when we're looking at these cards all together over the next couple of weeks with the energy of the new moon in Scorpio, we really want to be thinking about how are we communicating, what are the conflicts coming up from this communication, and where can that lead us next. You know, if we're not being appreciated, if we're not being valued for who we are and how we are showing up, then should we really be staying in that situation? Or should we take that leap? Should we be brave and move on to a better situation, a better scenario where we will be recognized for our talents, where we will be able to shine, and where we will be able to feel more appreciated and more aligned with our true selves? Because obviously by living in that authenticity, we are able to become the best of ourselves. So this is really what we want to be thinking about for Taurus with the new moon in Scorpio. Hello to Gemini, it's now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we're starting off with your card for Scorpio season, which is the Three of Needles, or the Three of Swords. So we're really thinking about relationships and a transformation around the relationship that you're currently in, or even if you're single, it could be other relationships in your life. So friends, family, people at work, how are we seeing those relationships currently transforming? So let's see what other cards we have coming up for you as well. So we're going to go with this card here, and then this card over here, and then last card, I feel this one is going to be a good fit for us. So let's see what we have coming up, and let's go in a little bit closer so that we can get a better look at these cards. Okay. So we have got the Ten of Cups, a lovely card. We've got, the King of Pentacles as well. And then we've also got the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, so when we're thinking about these cards all together, we've got the Six of Pentacles coming up in reverse, starting us off from left to right. So when we're thinking about this card, this is a card sometimes associated with charity, but to me, the energy I'm really getting from it strongly is that you are struggling to ask for help. It could be about something minor or something more major, but whatever situation you're in at the moment in life, you could really benefit from someone else's input, but for whatever reason you are struggling to ask. And the reason that you may be struggling with this is because of the person we have coming up as the King of Pentacles. Now, for me, the King of Pentacles always gives big sort of dad energy, but also sort of that male familial energy, someone who kind of comes across as the top of the patriarchal tree. So what is really coming through to me for you, Gemini, is that you have some kind of issue, possibly around money, that you really need some advice, some help on, and you're looking to an older male, possibly someone you're related to help you out with this, but you're really kind of worried to approach them. You're not quite sure how to ask them. If it is someone in your family, there may be that sort of pressure of, I've got to do it on my own, I've got to make it on my own, I can't ask for help from family because then that will bring up some kind of period of conflict, or I'll feel like a failure. Or maybe, although the King of Pentacles is very generous in general as a card, you may be fearful that if you ask for help, that then you're almost letting yourself down, that you really want to try and make it on your own, which is obviously very admirable. But what I would say is definitely coming up with the cards is that in order to heal this period in your life, to maybe heal any relationship conflict, you really need to approach whoever this older male figure is in order to kind of put all those bad feelings to bed. You need to ask for that help, and you will be surprised actually what comes from it, because we have the 10 of Cups, which is a beautiful card coming in to finish off this spread for us for the new moon in Scorpio. And the 10 of Cups is giving us that end of the rainbow, over the rainbow feeling. It's that idea of complete familial harmony, that things are only going to get better. And obviously the Rider-Waite deck has a very traditional outlook as to what it sees as the perfect family outcome. Obviously for all of us that means something different, but the cards are definitely saying that with the new moon in Scorpio, we really want to take this transformative time when it comes to our relationships to ask for help, to approach that older male in our lives, whoever that may be, where we're having this kind of current feeling of butting heads, this current feeling of conflict, to approach them, to not be afraid, to be open and honest, especially if it is about money, which can be a really tricky topic no matter who you are to approach, and to know that there is something beautiful, some beautiful conclusion is going to come from those discussions to only deepen your relationship and make your relationship better. So these are your cards for the new moon in Scorpio. Hello to Cancer. It's now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we're starting off, of course, with your signature card for Scorpio season, which was Justice. So we're really learning how to balance those two sides of ourselves, the light and the dark, and also how to process pain. If things have not gone our way in the past, how are we transforming that into our power? Okay, so let's see what other cards we have coming up this evening. Okay. So we'll go for this one here, this one down here, and then this one here as well. Okay, so let us go in a little bit further and see which cards we have coming up. Okay, so we have the Sun, we have the King of Cups in the reverse, and then we also have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so for you, Cancer, I'm really getting the sense that there is something in your past that you felt has held you back for a while, a situation that is still kind of overshadowing your present, and that with the Ace of Wands, we're feeling that real burst of creative energy. Obviously the symbol of the wand is very phallic. We've got that idea of sexual energy, but sexual energy doesn't necessarily have to be applied to a relationship context. It can also be that idea of just creation in and of itself. You know, how are we using our creative power to be most effective in our lives? But the sense I'm getting is that there's something in your past that's kind of pulling you back from being able to fulfill your true potential. And then when we also have the King of Cups coming up in the reverse, it's that idea that someone in your present is very emotionally unavailable, and that again is kind of blocking you from being able to move forward with where it is you want to go next in life. Now, the King of Cups, normally you would think of as an older figure, a male energy, but for some reason, for you, Cancer, with this new moon in Scorpio, I'm getting the idea that it's more of a female and that it's a contemporary. So maybe someone in a friendship group or someone that you're in a relationship with is being really emotionally unavailable to you, and that is kind of knocking your confidence, and it's sort of undermining how you're feeling about certain creative projects and things that you want to move forward with in life. You're kind of feeling that in your past you were undervalued or undermined, and now in your present, the person that's supposed to be supporting you the most is kind of not being there for you either, and you're kind of in this sort of conflict of not really knowing what to do next, whether you should give up on your current endeavor or whether you should keep trying to pursue using your creative power in this way. But what I would say to you is, with the Sun card coming up at the end of the spread, that if you do pursue these goals, that you will find success with them. But what you're just going to have to do is learn how to let go of whatever happened in the past that undermined your confidence, and just not ignore this person that's being emotionally unavailable, but just learn how to kind of bypass their opinion. So even though they are someone important in your life, that you don't have to have their approval necessarily in order to be able to succeed. And that's something that can be a little bit challenging to put into action, because obviously we rely on the people around us to support us, to be that emotional sounding board, that solid foundation for us to feel that we can go out into the world and try and fail. And when we don't have that, it can feel quite tricky. But obviously Scorpio season, a period of transformation, we're just going to have to dig a bit deeper, Cancer, and kind of let those doubts go, ignore those people, those naysayers that are trying to hold us back, and know that if we fully step forth into our power, that all that we know that we have inside of us that we can achieve is waiting on the other side. So that's really kind of where we want to be going with Scorpio season, and kind of seeing the balance of that darkness coming through in the Justice card, that we want to balance it out with the light of the Sun as well. So there is something really positive and really transformative coming through for you, Cancer, for the new moon in Scorpio. So these are your cards for Scorpio season. Hello to Leo. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we are starting off, of course, with our signature card for Scorpio season, which is the Hanged Man. So we're really thinking about our spirituality and how I'll be making time to have that time for ourselves to do some spiritual practices to really help to inform and transform our lives at the current time. So let's see what other cards we have coming up for Leo for Scorpio season and for the new moon in Scorpio this evening. Okay, so we'll go with this one here, this card here, and then this one down here as well. Okay, so let us just go in a little bit closer to see what cards we have coming up for you, Leo. Okay, so we have got the King of Cups, we have got the Four of Swords in the reverse, and then we have also got we've got the Ten of Swords in the reverse as well. Okay, so when I'm looking at the spread for you, Leo, what I'm really seeing is that you are looking to delve deeper into your spirituality, because you have come through a period of feeling quite overwhelmed, that there's been a lot going on, but it's more that level of anxiety on a mental level. So obviously with both the Ten of Swords coming up in the reverse and the Four of Swords coming up in the reverse, it's giving us that indication that this period of stress has come to an end. But I'm still getting that feeling of almost like an overhang. So maybe there's something that you are worried about, or an anxiety. And even though everything in your life on the outside is kind of superficially fine, your relationship is fine, your job is fine, if you're single, you're happily single, but there's still this kind of anxiety. There's something on your mind at the moment that is still kind of chipping away at you, that you are kind of worried about and thinking about. And with the Knight of Cups coming up, what this kind of suggests to me is this is something to do with a relationship. So it could be that, you know, maybe you're in a long-term relationship and things are fine, but you just feel like there's no real romance. Your relationship is not really going anywhere. And I would say to you that the King of Cups is coming up to let you know that things are going to progress with your relationship, that there is something on the horizon that is really going to deepen that connection between you. And it could even be something quite major. So there could be a major transformation in your relationship coming up, something positive. So a big relationship step is going to happen for you over Scorpio season. And if you're someone who is single and looking, I would say that for a single Leo's looking over Scorpio season, that you will definitely meet someone who has future partner potential. Or even if you are happily single, that you will feel that sense of a deepening nourishment within your sort of relationship with yourself, that deeper connection within your own inner relationship as well. So these are your cards for Leo for the new moon in Scorpio. We've got that idea of letting go of anxieties, particularly around relationships, because we've got some really big positive relationship news coming in on the horizon. The Knight of Cups is also associated sometimes with proposals. So if any of that does happen for you during Scorpio season, please do leave it in the comments below, because I would love to know. But Leo, these are your cards for the new moon in Scorpio. Hello to Virgo. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and your signature card for Scorpio season was, of course, the Page of Potions or the Page of Cups. So this season we're really looking to dig deeper into our emotional side and learn to listen to our intuition that little bit better. So let's see what other cards we have coming up for you for this new moon in Scorpio. Okay, so we have that one there, this one down here, and then this card here as well. Okay, so let's go in a little bit closer so we can get a better look at our cards. Okay, so we have the Hierophant, we have the Two of Swords, and then we also have the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so looking at these cards for you, Virgo, for the new moon in Scorpio, what I'm seeing is that perhaps there's been a bit of a disconnect with your intuition, and it has made you feel quite unsure of yourself, particularly when it comes to the decisions that you're making. So maybe there was something in the past where you feel like you chose the wrong option, and it's kind of had almost like a paralyzing effect on you going forward, that you feel like you almost can't trust yourself to make the right decision for your future. And when it comes to finances, that's made you feel very closed off, that you are reluctant to spend money, that you're always kind of being a little bit tight with money. You're worried that if you sit back and enjoy any of the abundance that you've created for yourself, that you then might not be able to make it back again. So it's really giving you that sense of worry and anxiety, particularly when it comes to money. But also I'm getting the sensation of wider decision making in general. And then when we have the Two of Swords coming up, it's this idea that in your life at the moment you have quite a pivotal decision to make, but there are two definite choices. And 9 times out of 10 when this card comes up for a querent, but for you Virgo, I'm really feeling that you almost know what decision you want to make, but because of that kind of disconnect in the past to your inner voice, you're worried that it still might be the wrong decision. So what this spread is really encouraging you to do, with the Hierophant coming up as well, is to dig deeper into education, into asking for help on a more expansive level. So if this kind of worry is to do with your job, maybe it's time to retrain, to spend a bit more time learning those new skills so that you can feel more confident in your position, more confident in where your career is going, and not kind of have that same fear that if you relax the purse strings a little bit, that you won't be able to then make up that level of financial abundance in the future. But it could also be if you're having kind of a financial worry that is separate to your job, so you're just not sure what to do with your money at the moment, then it may be time to look for further financial planning. You know, should you be saving your money? Should you be investing it? Is there more that you could be doing with your financial abundance, your potential, that could set you up a bit better for the future and kind of give you that sense of peace of mind, that you're not then worrying about money in the same way that you have been so far. So for you, for this new moon in Scorpio, I would really say that if you've been feeling that disconnection from knowing what to choose, Virgo, you really should trust yourself, because Virgo can be a bit of a perfectionist of the zodiac, and sometimes that perfectionism reaps beautiful rewards, but sometimes it can kind of hold us feeling a bit paralyzed, a bit stagnant, because we're so afraid of making a mistake that actually we don't make any choice at all, and that's something that we really want to be unafraid to do. So for these, your cards in Scorpio season, I would really encourage you to listen to your intuition, to trust yourself, to make that choice that you have been so afraid of making. And if you are in any doubt or have any worries, be sure to reach out to someone else. Look up more educational resources, whether it's something online or if it's someone, a flesh and blood person. Don't be afraid to reach out for more help and more information in order to help you to truly flourish. Hello to Libra. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we have, of course, your signature card for Scorpio season, which is the Seven of Cups. So this season we're thinking about the choices that we're making, the choices that we are not making, and why we are making those particular choices or not, and what effect that is having on our lives at the moment. Okay, so let's see what other cards we have coming up for you this evening for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, let's see what we have coming up. All right, so we have our 3 cards, and then we're going to go in a bit closer to get a better look at what we have coming up. Okay, so for you, Libra, for the new moon in Scorpio, we have the 3 of Pentacles, we have the 5 of Swords in the reverse, and then we have the 9 of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so looking at these cards together for you, Libra, for the new moon in Scorpio, the sense I'm getting is that you have some choices to make at the moment, but that you feel unable to make them, or you're kind of reluctant to make them because of something that's happened in your past. And what I'm getting very strongly is a sense of betrayal. So this could be that perhaps you were in a relationship where there was infidelity or someone cheated on you, or it could be that you were in a work situation where maybe someone took credit for work that you had done, and it kind of, the sense that I'm getting is that whatever scenario this was, where there was this kind of deception, this deceit going on, that it really kind of changed how you looked at the world moving forward after that. And so that's now making you feel kind of unsure of the choices that you're making, because you kind of feel that there's always this this unstable factor of someone else being involved, and that there's only so much control that you can have, because whatever decision you make, someone else may be doing something behind your back. But what the cards are really saying to me is that you need to let that particular scenario or situation go now, because it's sort of holding you back from being able to trust other people, and that in turn is then holding you back from progressing. And what I'm really seeing for you, Libra, for the new moon in Scorpio is to do with a work question. So we've got the 3 of Pentacles coming up at the end of this spread, and it's giving me this idea that in order to progress further in your career, that you're going to need to reach out to other people, and that you're going to need to actively collaborate and talk to other people, and that you're going to have to find a way to work with other people again in order to then be able to make the best choices that you can moving forward. And although the sense that I'm getting is that this kind of betrayal maybe happened in sort of a personal relationship situation, so maybe with a partner, an ex-partner, or in a friendship group, or even with family, I feel that that has had such a huge effect on you and on your life going forward, that it's actually now starting to affect your career and work opportunities, because you're so mistrustful of your own ability to make choices that you end up making the wrong ones, often because you don't make any choice at all. So we really kind of want to steer clear of that sort of behavior. And the 3 of Pentacles are really coming in strongly to let us know that it is important to collaborate with other people in order to move forward and progress forward, especially when we're looking at career for you, Libra. So these are your cards for the new moon in Scorpio, and I will see you next time on the full moon. Hello to Scorpio. This is, of course, your new moon in Scorpio, Scorpio season, and we have your signature card of the 2 of Candles, or the 2 of Wands. So we're really thinking at the moment about potential. How are you, Scorpio, using your potential in order to thrive and move forward and progress in life? And we're going to see what other cards we have coming up for you as well. So we'll go for this one here, this one down here, and then also this one up here as well. Okie dokie. So we'll go in a little bit further and just go in to see what cards we have coming up for you, Scorpio. So we've got the Two of Wands up here. Oh, we've got the Hermit coming in, and we've got the Four of Pentacles, and then we've also we've got the Devil as well. Okay. So for you, Scorpio, for the Scorpio new moon, the sense I'm getting really strongly is that you have so much potential, so talented, so much at your fingertips, but that you are being your own worst enemy. So you are self-sabotaging to the max. So that could either be overspending, you know, buying things that you don't need in order to impress people that you don't like. We've all been there. Or it could be that you are, you know, maybe going out too much. You are delving into darker habits, smoking, drinking, whatever, in order to kind of numb yourself to the fact that, yes, you've got all this potential, but maybe things in your career, especially I'm getting this particularly pertaining to career, is not moving as fast as you would like in the direction that you would like. So you're kind of thinking, oh, you know, what the hell, quite literally, and just kind of indulging in unhelpful practices. You're listening too much to your self-saboteur. You're not giving yourself that real chance in order to move forward and progress and flourish. And we've also got obviously the Four of Pentacles holding very tightly to their coins. So it's that idea that you know that you have this potential, but you're not really using it to the best of your ability, and as such your finances are kind of suffering as a result. So you're clinging onto what you've already made, and you're sort of cutting yourself off from further career opportunities because it's almost like that fear of rejection. You know what you have to offer, but you're afraid to kind of put yourself out there. So you would rather listen to that self-doubt that almost gives us like an easy way out in a way, rather than push yourself out there. So you're kind of going into hermit mode. And although the Hermit can be a really, really useful card to remind us that we need to take some time out, some space, I would suggest for you, Scorpio, on this new moon, you know, Scorpios have a tendency to go into hermit mode anyway, that maybe just have a little look at what is going on, particularly career-wise at the moment, and establish if, you know, is withdrawing actually the best course of action, or should you be thinking about how can you put yourself out there in a more productive way, you know. Obviously, rejection comes for all of us, and it's never very nice. But without that rejection, without putting ourselves out there and hearing those no's, we can't then get the redirection to find out where we are going to then hear a yes. So we don't want to be going into hermit mode in a negative way. We want to use any time away in order to really kind of reassess our talents and kind of figure out, okay, you know, I'm so good at whatever it is that you are doing. How am I going to then transform that to make my life as wonderful as it can be? So for this new moon in Scorpio, for you, Scorpio, I'd really encourage you to kind of dig deep with your shadow self. Don't let it overshadow you, and really kind of take control of your talents and your career going forward. Hello to Sagittarius. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we have your signature card for Scorpio season, which is the 10 of Wands. So we're really learning over the course of this season how to let go of burdens, how to not take on too much responsibility in the first place. And I was also getting that sense of kind of something more physical. So is there a physical pain that you're carrying around that you kind of need to go and get that looked into, get that assessed, so that it doesn't drag you down? Okay, so let us see what other three cards we have coming up for you for the Scorpio new moon. So we'll have this one here, this one back here, and then this one here as well. Okay, Sagittarius, let's see what we have coming up for you. We'll go in a little bit closer. Okay, so we have got the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. We have got the Nine of Cups in the reverse. And then we've also got the Queen of Pentacles as well. Okay, so with the spread coming up, what I would say is that obviously we are already in that energy of making sure that we're not taking on too much responsibility. We've been doing it for far too long, and we are really feeling very heavy and very bogged down by it. And this is something that as Sagittarians that you would feel more intensely, because being able to kind of be free and be able to have that freedom of movement is so important to Sagittarians, both physically, you know, being able to travel, but also in their body as well. Sagittarians really do not take well to any kind of physical discomfort that is holding them back. But with the Queen of Pentacles coming up, I'm really getting that sense of healing, you know, that if you can get whatever is holding you back physically assessed, that it's something that will then lift this huge burden off you. You'll feel so much better and really be able to ease into a period of comfort and healing, which is well deserved and well needed. And with the Queen of Pentacles coming up, in the bottom right hand corner we can see the little rabbit as well, which is the symbol of fertility. So I'm suggesting that maybe possibly the reason that you were kind of carrying this burden in the first place could be something to do with fertility, pregnancy, or with looking after children. So it could be perhaps you are a primary caregiver for someone, and that has been what's really been dragging you down and making you feel very tired, very overwhelmed. Or it could be going through a period of wanting to try for a child, and that has again brought with it a lot of stress and a lot of unhappy thoughts. However, we are now coming into a beautiful period of healing where things are going to progress so much better. And we also have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse finishing off this spread for us, which is again a card of promoted healing. So we know that everything is going to really ease and get so much better for you over Scorpio season, which is great. But we also have the Nine of Cups coming up in the reverse as well. And this is just kind of coming in to remind us that when we're going through a period of healing after an intense period of stress, we don't want to settle too much into a comfort zone, because sometimes when we go through intensely stressful periods, it kind of drives us right at the other end of the scale, where we then avoid any situation of pressure or stress or difficult outcomes, because we don't want to be disappointed again, or we don't want to go through difficult situations again. And what the cards are really saying is, you know, yes, you have been through a difficult time. Yes, it is getting better, but don't let that trap you. You know, don't let it push you into a comfort zone that you then are not going to be able to grow out of, because sometimes these periods of stress, they really come to teach us something. And as we go then into that cyclical period of healing, it then allows us to grow. So let yourself grow from it. Don't let it pull you down. So these are our cards for the new moon in Scorpio. I will see you again on the full moon. Hello to Capricorn. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and using of course our signature card, which is the Five of Candles or the Five of Wands. So we're kind of preparing ourselves that maybe during eclipse season that there may be some secrets coming to light, that karmic cycles are coming full circle. So we're kind of just in that space of letting go of any negativity and kind of preparing ourselves for anything negative that might come our way. Okay, so let us see what other cards we have coming up for the new moon in Scorpio as well. Okay, so we have this one back here, this one in the front, and then let's also go for another one at the back as well. Okay, so let us get a closer look at the cards that we have coming up for Capricorn for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, so we have the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Wands, and we have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so what these cards are giving to me very strongly for you, Capricorn, is the idea that whether in the near past or distant past, at some point there was some kind of revelation, a secret or a conflict, something came to light, and that was like a curtain coming down moment where you were like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm shutting myself off and I'm going to become a self-made person. And Capricorn, of course, are very hard workers, very career orientated, and often achieve a great amount of career success. And I'm definitely feeling that for you, that either that success has come already or you're really kind of in the throes of it now, where you're really becoming that self-made person that you've always wanted to be. But the reason that you are doing that is prompted by some kind of negativity in the past, some kind of secret or situation where you actually actively separated yourself from it in order to then move forward, progress, and become the incredible individual that you are today. But what we always want to be thinking about with the Nine of Pentacles is that we're not using that success as a way for ourselves to shut off from other people. You know, we always want to be kind of using that as a platform to connect with other people as well as ourselves. We want to be sharing that abundance. And with the Eight of Wands coming in, it's that idea that something is going to happen for you at speed this month, and there's going to be some kind of contact. And I can't help but feel the impression I'm getting from these cards is that it's going to be to do with the person that prompted you to separate yourselves in the first place. So that could be something to do with family, an ex, a friendship, something where that negative situation is going to creep back in during eclipse season, during Scorpio season, and it is up to you to make sure that you handle it in the right way, that you don't close yourself off from it, but that you find a way to kind of add it into your transformation. And the sense that I'm getting is that it is something to do with family or a person who felt like family. But when this person or people, when this situation comes back to light and you do reconnect, what I'm definitely feeling is that if you can find a way to resolve this positively, because obviously forgiveness is the gift that we give to ourselves, then this will end up in a beautiful situation where you will feel so much happier, so much more stable, and things will flourish even more for you. So for Capricorn, for the new moon in Scorpio, I'm really getting the sense of conflict resolving, that you have kind of moved away from a conflicted situation, you've made a success of yourself, but that you are kind of still being pulled down by that, so you want to kind of resolve it in the best way possible. Hello to Aquarius. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we have your signature card for Scorpio season, which is the Knight of Potions or the Knight of Cups. And it's this idea that we're learning to trust our emotions a little bit more, that we're letting our emotions run the show, that we are using our heart as well as our head when it comes to making decisions, which can be obviously very tricky for everyone, but particularly for airy Aquariuses. So let's see what other cards we have coming up for you for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, so we'll have a look at this one here in the middle, this one at the back, and then we'll do this one here at the back as well. Okay, and then we are going to go in a bit closer so that we can see what cards we have coming up for us. Okay, so we have the card of Judgment. We have, oh my gosh, we have the Knight of Cups again. And we also have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so what I'm getting from this straight away for Aquarius with this new moon in Scorpio is this is a spread about relationships. So you may be either in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or kind of struggling with the relationship that you have with yourself. And what I'm really feeling is that you would love to have a relationship in your life. So either you want to improve the relationship that you already have, or if you're single, you're really looking to find that one, that special person that you really feel you have been waiting for a long time. You've been putting yourself out there, you've been being brave, wearing your heart on your sleeve, but for whatever reason, that person has just not shown up in your life yet. And the sense that I'm getting quite strongly is that the reason that you are, you're kind of really looking for that person and that you really want to have that relationship, but the hesitancy that I'm picking up on a little bit, or the block that is kind of coming up, maybe you don't even actively do this, but it's kind of coming through from your subconscious, is that you were betrayed in a relationship previously. And I'm getting the sense that this wasn't an infidelity, but it was more a thing of deception. So someone maybe kind of made you think that they were one way when in fact they weren't. They told you all the things that you wanted to hear, but in reality that wasn't who they were, and they never intended to kind of offer you that side of a relationship in the first place. So we've got the double Knight of Cups coming up. So it's that idea that you're really looking for romance, that you really want to have that archetypal beautiful relationship, but for whatever reason it just hasn't appeared in your life yet. And even if you're in a relationship, that kind of level of romance is still eluding you. But what I would say is, do not be too hard on yourself. Do not carry this sense of judgment towards your particular situation. I think when it comes to relationships and connections, sometimes it can feel conversely, you know, very isolating. We feel we're the only person that is struggling in our relationship. We're the only person that's still single, that still hasn't been able to find that special one. But the reality is that that just isn't true. We all experience relationship difficulties and ups and downs, and it's up to us to keep our hearts open to really kind of move forward and still pursue romantic connections, even when it's painful or scary, or we have that past fear kind of subconsciously coming in as well. So for Aquarius, I would definitely say with this new moon in Scorpio to really transform how you're feeling about your relationship, whether that's the one you're in, the one you're looking for, or the one with yourself. Keep your heart open, keep your emotions open. If you're in a relationship, communicate what you want. If you're not in a relationship, communicate with potential partners, you know, that is the level that you are looking for, that you want to have open emotions, open discussions, and that you're really looking for that romance. And yes, do not give up, because I see this coming for you in the next season. Hello to Pisces. It is now time for your new moon in Scorpio reading, and we're starting off, of course, with our signature card for Scorpio season, which is the Page of Presents or the Page of Pentacles. So we're really thinking about our finances and new beginnings with our finances. So are we taking control of that budget? Are we using the talents that we have, the skills that we have to bring in as much abundance as possible? How are we using our finances effectively? Okay. So let us see what other cards we have coming up for the new moon in Scorpio for Pisces. Okay, so take this one from the middle here, this one here, and then we'll go for another one from the middle as well. Okay, so let's get a bit of a closer look as to what cards we have coming up. Okay, so we have got the Four of Wands, we've got the Seven of Wands in the reverse, and then we've also got the Hanged Man. Okay, so the sense I'm getting, Pisces, for you with the Scorpio new moon is that you have a lot of anxiety around you at the moment and a lot of worries. And what I would really love to do is sort of assuage those worries for you, because that's really what the tarot is supporting us in doing. So I'm getting the sense that you have a lot of ideas of how you want to make more money, of how you want to transform your life on that material level, not just for yourself, but also for your loved ones as well. But that you've tried a few different things, nothing's really worked out. You're kind of really stuck in that sense of not really knowing where to take yourself next when it comes to business and finances. And that's kind of caused you to withdraw a little bit, to go a bit deeper into yourself, and to kind of feel like you're not really sure how to make those next steps. But what I would really encourage you to do with the Seven of Wands coming up in the reverse is to know that those periods of anxiety are normal. They are not just unique to Pisces, even though as Pisceans sometimes it can feel that way, but they are not at all. That everyone goes through those kind of ups and downs, those worries, those periods of stress and anxiety, and even sometimes a touch of feeling that depressive energy when it comes to how are we going to create the life that we want for ourselves. How are we going to get there? But with the Four of Wands coming up at the end, I think sometimes when this card comes up, it can be aligned with marriage. But if we're thinking about how A.E. Waite, who created the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, had it illustrated, what he would say is that it's more about creating a solid foundation. So what I would really encourage you to do, Pisces, on this new moon in Scorpio is to transform your attitude, to put to bed some of that anxiety, some of those worries around finances and how you are kind of creating a life for yourself, and understand that if you can just push through those feelings, not ignore them, not devalue them, but understand that that is all part and parcel of success. If we don't hear no, we're not going to hear yes. You know, we kind of have to tread that path to find our happy ending, but that you are walking towards something that is very stable, very solid, and sometimes that can actually take longer to create, and sometimes that is where the anxiety comes in as well. You know, that when things aren't happening quick enough, we start to think, well, are they ever going to happen? And the cards are really supporting you, Pisces, to let you know that whatever period of stress or anxiety you're in at the moment, that you are creating a solid and stable foundation for your future. And as things progress, that is going to start to come to light more and more over Scorpio season, and you can really congratulate yourself for the life that you are creating for yourself. Don't let anxiety or worries kind of spoil all the success that you are ushering into your life at the moment. So these are your cards, Pisces, for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay, there we have it, our tarot readings for the new moon in Scorpio with our Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck, and also my Rider-Waite Smith deck as well. I think you can tell which is the old one or which is the newer one. But thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these readings with you, and I will see you again for the full moon.